Hello again. Alright, I think this time I already tried to make this video once and last time it didn't work. So I went outside and worked in the garden for a little while. Now I'm back inside. I'm going to talk to you guys for a little bit, then I'm going to go back out there and keep planting tomatoes. And this video is going to be very, very short. I only have two things to cover. I know I said it was going to be short last time, but this time I really mean it. Alright, so right now we're going to be talking about time techniques of flashback and foreshadowing. Time techniques, really simple. Flashback means an author moves the story back in time to enhance characterization or explain motivation. And in foreshadowing, the author gives you hints or clues about what's going to be the outcome of the story at the end. Those clues may come to you through something in the context, it may come to you through something in the setting, or it may come to you through the actions of a character, or just something the narrator in general says. Now, flashback and foreshadowing are two things that we have covered in depth this year. If you'll think back, way back to the beginning of the year when we read The Outsiders, foreshadowing and flashback are both techniques that S.E. Hinton used a lot in The Outsiders. As a matter of fact, the entire novel was a flashback. She also used a flashback to tell us about how Johnny became so jumpy and scared and nervous all the time. And there was the foreshadowing of the church burning down, and the foreshadowing of Johnny being the one that was going to be killed. A lot of different things in that novel, but she's not the only one that uses them. Almost always the time techniques that an author uses are either used to develop the characters or their motivation, especially with flashback. That's usually why they give you the flashback, is to explain why a character acts a certain way or why they do what they do. Foreshadowing is more of a technique to give you as the reader hints. But there are a couple of basic, real easy strategies that you can use whenever you're answering flashback or foreshadowing questions. We'll start with flashback. The first thing you need to do when you're looking for a flashback is find a major shift in time. Usually, any story that goes chronologically, you're going to have shifts in time. You are definitely going to have shifts in setting in any story, because the story moves from one place to the other. But what you're looking for is a major time shift. So we're talking like weeks, months, years, something that is very noticeably a departure from the timeline that the story is establishing. And then after you've read that part and you've located the major time shift, then you need to ask yourself, how does knowing this event help me understand the present more completely? For instance, in the story that we've been reading, we've been focusing on in class, the story about Jake, the gym class, somebody, nobody. There is a flashback in that story. And for your assignment to go with this video, I want you to think about, number one, what is the flashback? And number two, what do you learn from that flashback? If you will write down these answers and make sure that you have them when you come to class on Tuesday. So, what is the flashback, and what do you learn from this flashback? Why did the author include it? And secondly, when you're looking for foreshadowing, one thing you need to look for is in the question stem. So actually, after you finish reading the selection, when you get to the questions, look in the question stem for words like foreshadow, clue, or hint. All of those have to do with the author's purpose and why they would use foreshadowing, clues, or hints as to what's going to happen in the future. And then after you've reached the end of the story, the outcome, ask yourself, how could I have seen this coming? And you pick back up on those little hints that they give you all through the story, but usually you can't do that until you get to the end. It's really difficult to pick up on foreshadowing before you know what it's actually foreshadowing. So ask yourself, could I have seen this coming? How? Second part of this assignment is to take the same story, look at the title, and explain how the title foreshadows the outcome of the story. So we've got gym class nobody marked out somebody. Why is that foreshadowing the end of the story? So, two pieces to this assignment. Number one, the flashback. What is it, and why does the author use it? Number two, foreshadowing in the title. What does it foreshadow? How does it tell you the outcome of the story? If you can do this, using these key questions, using these finding techniques for foreshadowing and flashback should be able to get you to where you can answer a standardized test question on these without any problem at all. All you have to do is choose the answer choice that is closest to how you would answer the question based on the selection. Very, very basic, very simple. Finally, the biggest thing is for you to remember that everything in a piece of literature happens for a reason. The author always tells you that backstory because they need you to know some part of it. They give you clues to the outcome of the story because that's something that's extremely important. So that's it for foreshadowing and flashback. Don't forget to do your assignment, and after this you will have one more video left, and those need to be done by Tuesday. Alright, I'll see you guys Monday.